Okay, so the discussion for today is refinement of fuel on demand and over unity. So there's been a lot of arguments based on a confusion that if you take an electrolysis unit and run a generator from water, that it's over unity. Especially if you have, say, you're using a 3,500 watt generator and you're only using 70 or 30% of the energy that the generator produces to refine the water into hydrogen on demand. So you're using 30% with a 70% surplus. That would be like technically over unity. It's not, if you think about it. Let's say, for instance, we were using mercury instead of water. What's the difference? Obviously, mercury won't necessarily work directly in the generator, but let's say it did, right? And that would be more acceptable because mercury is scarce. Okay, what's the difference between crude oil and water? Well, crude oil is harder to get. It's a controlled substance. There's a limited supply. It's harder to get, and then you have to refine it. But let me ask you this. Does the energy in refinement outweigh the energy that's produced when you burn the gasoline or the diesel? And if so, why do we use that? Okay. Well, the answer to your question, or actually the answer to my question, is no. It doesn't take more energy to refine the fuel from petroleum. So, what's the difference? Well, the difference is scarcity versus abundance. Hydrogen is the most abundant material, the most abundant molecule in the entire universe, actually. So, abundance and availability give people this distorted idea that you're talking about over unity, and you're not. So 70% of the planet is covered with water. And if we find a simple way to take just the salt water and refine it on demand to run a generator, what's the difference? It's not over unity. You're still using, just like the sun is over unity. Well, you get more out than you put in. You still have to manufacture the cells and put the whole panel system together and design a system that extracts the energy that's abundantly available, bombarding our planet constantly to get this energy out and use it practically in our circuits. No difference. Very simple, right? So the energy's there. It's sitting there in the form of water, and so all we're doing is we're going to encourage the water to separate itself into its hydrogen and oxygen parts. We're going to off-gas the oxygen because we don't need it. There's more than enough oxygen in the air in the environment to run a normally aspirated hydrogen combustion engine. So Mythbusters showed a couple of things. One, you can just hose hydrogen directly into a carburetor and it'll start a car. That's simple. Why nobody else does that? I'm not sure. Because I've done it, and it's not that difficult. So, hydrogen works in an engine. There are some things that you need to do to make it work consistently because it burns at a lower temperature. It has to be like, if you run it in a normal aspirated engine through an intake manifold, as soon as the engine gets up to operating temperature, it will start to backfire and pre-detonate because the temperature of the manifold at operating temperature is higher than the flash point of hydrogen. So you need to direct injection into the cylinder and time it correctly, and that's it. That's the simple modification. Okay, so running a generator from hydrogen on demand extracted from water on demand is not over unity. Number one, scarcity versus abundance. The only reason that people get distorted ideas of overunity is because hydrogen is abundant, water is abundant, and it's easy to get, and anyone can get it. Electrolysis is easy. It's very simple. Anyone can do it. And generators run on hydrogen right out of the box. Simple. Take the carburetor off, get a very small needle valve, inject it directly, let the engine normally aspirate, and then adjust your levels of hydrogen input for running the engine. Very simple. Go test it. If you haven't tested it, your opinion has that much value. Thanks for watching.